guys, how's it going? Stephen Cox here, and today we're going to try to get into the Halloween vibe a little bit early. So I know it's not till the end of the month, but that gives us time to prepare so that we can play some songs that have just some spooky sounds, kind of some little kind of things that just sound kind of dark and mysterious, and maybe just some other things that just create a vibe that's not necessarily a Halloween vibe, but just some kind of fun stuff anyway. So it's almost like we can think of using our U-Bass to create vibes and sound effects. So that's kind of like the goal with this video. So once again, if you like videos like these, please like the video. Thank you guys for hanging out. And let me know who's here and where you guys are from. And we'll kind of just go ahead and jump right into it. So basically, a couple things that we can do. We can use like diminished scales, kind of just diminished arpeggios, really. I like the little run up where you just go maybe with less buzzy notes. But you get the idea. And if you can tell right now, I've got a little bit of delay on because I was thinking we could talk through using some effects to kind of create some specific vibes as well. So it's not just scales. It's not just modes like that, but we'll talk about using a minor scale because that's a good one to use. We'll talk about using a diminished scale. For fun, we might talk about using a whole tone scale, but that's not as much of a Halloween vibe. It's just kind of like a sound effect. People use it a lot of times in TV shows when they go into like a dream sequence. You know, someone's just sitting there like remember that time way back, and you know, and they have that music that kind of like takes you into a memory or into a dream sequence of someone's falling asleep and going into a dream. They kind of use a you know, they might use something like that. It was a really bad interpretation of it, but you get the idea. That kind of thing. So that's the whole tone scale. We'll talk about what that is a little bit in here too. So first, probably the simplest one, the one that we've talked about a little bit in the past, is the minor scale. So if you like kind of just slightly creepy, slightly Halloween oriented things or whatnot, you can use just the straight up minor scale, just the natural minor. So if you just play it in a row, you can kind of already hear some things that sound a little bit spooky going up. Oh, that's not the minor scale. So that's one thing you can just do. It's just the minor scale. Examples of songs that use this that kind of fall into this category. Things like the intro to Crazy Train. It's really down here though. That's just so low, it's hard to hear. So just a lot of metal music, you know, that kind of fits this vibe already uses that. And if you use the minor scale and you just kind of use a drone note, I know last couple times ago we talked about pedal tones. And if you use the concept of a drone note with a minor sounding thing, bands like Tool do this, and it just creates a little bit of a darker vibe. Like, but that's one idea. Another one is using the Phrygian mode, which a Phrygian mode is like a minor scale. So we take the minor scale and then we lower the second note of the scale. So instead of this note, we have that note. So that'd be like if we're doing the C Phrygian, which honestly we want to do D so that we can pull it into that idea with the drone notes. So let's do D Phrygian. So we've got a 5th fret on the A string, 6th fret, then 8th fret, So 5, 6, 8. Then on the D string, we've got 5, 7, 8. And then on the next string, we've got 5 and 7. That's the note that makes it cool. So you might hear Tool do something with the Phrygian mode. That whole section of that song sounds very Phrygian until he gets to the... So he might not really be thinking completely in Phrygian, but that part... That would be using D Phrygian. Oops. So it's hard to see here. I know I taught it to you just in that pattern. You could also play the D Phrygian scale doing the open D string, first fret on the D string, third fret on the D string, the open G string, second fret, third fret, the fifth fret, and then the seventh fret. And then what I was doing up here, going higher than that, was just continuing those same notes, just up the octave. So that's going to be the starting on the seventh fret on the G string, then the eighth, the 10th, the 12th, and that's all I was really using for that. Because when we get higher than that, you know, then it gets a little too high up. I think you could use it though. So that's one thing that I used to get a little bit of a spooky sound. And then there's some other things that sound just even more creepy or strange or something. And so I'm thinking sounds like the diminished scale. And I like using the like half tone and then whole tone. So half whole scale. So basically that's where we do a half step, then a whole step, then a half step, then a whole step until we get back to the note we started on. So if we were doing the G half whole, we would do... So let me go through what that means. If we start on the open G, we're going to go up a half step, which is one fret up to the first fret. Then we're going to go up a whole step from there. Then up a half step. Then up a whole step, skip over a fret. Then up a half step. Then up a whole step. Then up a half step. And ending a whole step up. Whoops. Right. I did it wrong. It's a really weird scale. So instead of doing the whole scale like that, which could work on its own, if you just pull from that randomly, it'll sound kind of strange and out there. I like just taking the arpeggios of diminished chords. So one thing you could do is literally, it's like going from the first note, then, so if you're going from like the open string to the third fret, it's like we're doing a whole step plus a half step before we play the next note. So to me, that sounds kind of spooky, and I hear that in a lot of Halloween songs. So if we were going to do it all in one string, it'd be like open, third, sixth frets, ninth fret, 12th fret, and backwards, 12, 9, 6, 3, open. So that sounds kind of Halloween kind of vibe there. And then if you wanted to do it on different strings, just to kind of keep a pattern going. You can combine things. But if we're still doing the G kind of diminished run that we were doing there, then you could start on the third fret on the E string to the sixth fret. And then on the next string, you're going to do the fourth fret to the seventh fret. Then on the D string, you're going to do the fifth fret to the eighth fret. And then you'll do the sixth fret to the ninth fret on the G string. So just each string. And I've got to ask real quick, how's the sound so far? I'm trying to do something slightly different with the sound to hopefully get a clearer sound. Is it working, or is it still kind of distorted and kind of strange? Let me know in the chat, and let me know who's tuning in too. But yeah, so those are some really good ways to kind of go ahead and get a spooky sound. I'm kind of going to run out of things quickly before getting to effects. So if you have anything to add to it, please feel free to add to it as well in the chat. But as far as scales, those are the ones that I like to use for kind of spooky sounds. So we've got the minor scale, the Phrygian mode, the half whole tone. So you do a half step, then a whole step, half step, whole step. And then using that scale, we can just use a couple notes out of it and do diminished chord arpeggios. So they end up being fully diminished seventh chord arpeggios, just for the record. But that's that one that's kind of like this stair step looking thing. Whoops. Hard to do without looking at it. I was looking at the screen. But yeah, so that's kind of the idea. So do you have any questions about those things or anything of that nature? Some other things you can do to sound kind of spooky is just creating some dissonance, right? So one way to create dissonance is doing the interval of a tritone. So it kind of just sounds a little strange and a little dissonant, right? So what that is you're taking a fret on one string. So it could be, let's say, the 7th fret on the D string. And then you're going to go to the next thinnest string, and you're going to go 1 fret up from there. So you have like the 7th fret and the 8th fret on the D string and the G string. So that's a pretty dissonant interval. Classical music liked to avoid jumping from one of those notes to another note. A lot of times people refer to it as like the devil's interval. So it's really a, because it just sounds so like, sinister, just a weird chord, right? If you're familiar with the South Park theme, Les Claypool uses a lot of these, and he usually taps them. So you could also use your right hand and just do that kind of thing. It sits really well with the fingers, since your middle finger is slightly longer than your pointer finger. So then that way you could have some sort of bass line going on. Yeah, you could kind of make something up that's a little dissonant like that. So that might be kind of fun. And then another interval that you can do is a minor second. This one's too dissonant. It's going to be very uncomfortable to listen to. But the minor second just sounds really messed up, like it's unintentional. It's something that, like, if you play one note and somebody else plays the note right above it, the half step up from it at the same time, it's the sound that you get. So unfortunately, because of the way the bass is tuned, in order to get two notes that are next to each other, we can't just play these two at the same time, because you can only play one note on a string at the same time. So let's say we're doing the 4th fret on the G string, and we're trying to play the note of the 5th fret on the G string, but we can't play both of those notes. So what we want to do is we want to move that 4th fret to the D string, and the way we do that is we add 5 frets. 4 plus 5 is 9, so it's going to be 9th fret on the D string, and then we've got our other note, which is the 5th fret on the G string. So this isn't really super spooky, but if you want to make things, it's kind of interesting to do this with like children's songs or something. It might be kind of spooky if you make the whole melody out of minor seconds like that. So what's a good one? Like Mary Had a Little Lamb or something. Sounds kind of weird and kind of maybe kind of like in a horror movie or something, where you take a familiar thing and then you just make it really sound messed up, and that's kind of like, it messes with your brain. It's probably a psychology thing, but it's just like something's off here, and it goes really well with just kind of like things that are crazy, you know, like maybe an insane character or something, or just something kind of crazy going on. Speaking of kind of crazy, where is everybody? I don't see anybody on the chat. Hope you guys are all okay out there. Didn't all just, yeah. Hope everybody's doing well and everything. But let me know in the chat. Maybe it's just that my chat's not working. I'm not sure. But just let me know. All right, there's Seth. Hey, Seth. How's it going? And let me know if you're like finding anything that you like within this stuff, and if you have anything to add to it as well. Oh, very cool. Thanks for tuning in from Colombia. That's awesome. So I like doing a lot of things against one note like that. So doing the drone notes, you can do the minor scales. You could do the diminished stuff against that. Oh, you're going to buy this particular one, the Wanderer? Yes, this is the Kala Wanderer. I like it a lot. You may have to do some slight adjustments to it. When I got it, it had like a buzz down here, and it's still there a little bit because I tried to do some more adjustments and it came back. So that first fret on just the A string, nowhere else, kind of buzzes a little bit. Oh, and hey, from we got bass from Florida. Florida's not very far. I live in Georgia, so very, very close to here. That's pretty cool. What part of Florida? So it's a good bass, but you might have to do some minor things to it. I think there's just a little bit of like quality control issues on the cheaper instruments. So as far as the price range goes, I would definitely recommend it. But if you can get one like the Rumbler, or maybe even the Journeyman, or if you get one of these with the if you're able to get one of these with what am I trying to say? With the metal strings, it might sit better, although the sound of the strings is really cool. But what I had to do was I did a truss rod adjustment, and that got this note to be okay. And then it caused some issues up here, which I hardly ever play this high up on the U bass. So I don't really worry too much about those, and you can kind of get around it by just playing really lightly. Then it doesn't buzz as much. But this down here, I can get around by playing lightly too. It's not that bad of a buzz. But somebody else was saying a better solution to this problem would be using some sort of, I'm not sure if it's a glue or if it's something else, but to just fill in the what's it called? Groove. So the groove on the nut is probably just barely too low, or it could be over here on the bridge side that the string is just barely too low. So if you can figure out a way to raise the string up, and I'm not sure what to put under here to raise the string up. So I'm not quite positive, but it could be something as simple as just getting that string to be slightly higher than it is. Play Monster Mash. I'm trying to remember, is Monster Mash a 1-6-4-5 or something? I can't even remember. I can't remember how it sounds, so I'll have to go into that one. But a really good one is Frankenstein. Frankenstein by the Edgar Winter. That one's kind of a fun one. Wow, that's buzzing now too. Or was that? And the bass doesn't really do that other part. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of buzz today. So sometimes the weather can kind of cause things like that to happen more often. But yeah, Frankenstein's pretty cool. Okay, so unplugged. I could just turn the tuner on, and then all of a sudden it's just like. Yeah, so it's pretty good. It's pretty good unplugged. It's just a little bit quiet if you're trying to jam with people. But yeah, it does have a pretty good tone. Yeah, it could, if you wanted to record it with a microphone really close up, that's a good way to get that tone. But yeah, it actually does have a really good tone, a nice earthy kind of sound, a woody, earthy kind of sound. So it's pretty good for that. But those are great questions. So then you might notice I have a little bit of an effect on here. So this is basically some delay. So if you're trying to make songs sound kind of like creepy or mysterious or something, then having that delay is kind of cool on it because it gives it that vibe like you're in a cave or something, right? Because it's an echo. Could be a cathedral or something, but it could also be like a cave, right? All right, that wasn't the E-bass, that was me. Yeah, so that's kind of fun. You can also go the distorted route if you wanted to. I don't really know this effects pedal too well, so I might end up with extra effects on there. Power chords also sound pretty cool for this. So you can do a lot of cool things with distortion. There are different kinds of distortion. I don't even know what all effects there are in addition to the distortion on this one. But yeah, you can use distortion and it's kind of fun, and just some other cool things. I personally like the delay probably the best for just getting that kind of like spooky sort of light sound. But if you wanted to be more in people's faces with it, and dissonant intervals sound even crazier with distortion. Sounds like Thriller. I can't remember it. Oh my gosh. I'm getting confused with like 10 other songs. Okay. I had to think for a second. Something like that. Something like that. But yeah, that's kind of fun. But then I like doing the tritones and then moving them down those minor thirds, which is what we were doing. Whoops. It's also just a good exercise, honestly, because you have to eyeball every single spot that you're doing. So like if you're starting on the open G string and you're doing the 3rd fret, the 6th fret, and then you're shifting up with your pointer finger to the 9th fret and the 12th fret, and then going backwards down it, those shifts are pretty big. So it's a good way to work on your like hand-eye coordination on bass. So that's kind of cool. And then we talked about that half whole scale. Might be good for building suspense. Right? That kind of stuff might be kind of cool. Might add a little anxiety or suspense kind of to things. Okay. So that's kind of fun, and that's really about all the different concepts I wanted to go through on there. I think there was one that's not really a spooky sound, but I've mentioned that a lot of people use it for like dream sequences and stuff, and that's called the whole tone scale. So earlier we did one where we alternate between doing half steps, whole steps, half steps, and whole steps. Well, the whole tone scale is just whole steps, nothing more than that. And Navix, yes, this is the Kala Wanderer. And by the way, great job on your Bohemian Rhapsody videos. I really like the piano covers too. It's really cool that you're doing bass videos now too. But yeah, if you want to hear him play through the piano on Bohemian Rhapsody, it was really good. So if you see him in the chat, check out his site. It was really cool. Check out his YouTube. But yeah, so the whole tone scale, people use it, you know, when they're just either going back to a memory or if someone's falling asleep, you know, and it's like the screen's getting all like wobbly or the screen's getting kind of hazy or however they do the transition into that. I have to bypass some stuff to get a more trebly sound, right? And people might go like up the scale like slightly. That kind of thing. And people also use that. If you ever played the Legend of Zelda video games when he's opening up a treasure chest, that's also the idea there. But that's pretty cool. Can I play some whole with the whole tone scale? Nice, Sean. Nice. So guys, if you see the Soul Night Live, that's my buddy Sean. We're actually in a band together, and Soul stands for Story of a Life, which is the name of the band. I'm actually sporting the shirt, so that's kind of convenient. Story of a Life. And basically, he started doing an interview show, and he gets some pretty cool people on there. He does a lot of progressive rock. So check out his channel if you see him in the chat over there, Soul Night Live. He's got a whole lot of interviews that he's done via Zoom with a whole bunch of people like Rick Wakeman from Yes, John Anderson, a lot of people from Yes, really, and then a couple of people from Kansas, and just a whole bunch of really, really cool artists. So check out his channel and feel free to subscribe to him if you like listening to interviews about stuff like that. There are a lot of bass players on there too. He interviewed the current bass player for Yes. So obviously he couldn't interview Chris Squire because, you know, Chris passed away a few years ago. But he's got a lot of bass players on there too, and I think he's planning on doing some more bass player interviews soon. So it might be something fun to check out. But yeah, that's my buddy Sean. It's the Soul Night Live one. But no, I'm not going to play any whole with the whole tone scale. I don't know if whole uses the whole tone scale, but it's pretty funny anyway. Okay, and so there's another guy over here that just made a YouTube page. Just some bass improv jams. It's very new. Okay, I'll keep that in mind, and if I get a chance, I might do that. Space. I'm gonna try to pronounce it, just pretending. And this one is the Wanderer. I have the Exotic Mahogany, but that one has the metal strings on it, so this one's just the Wanderer. But I think the Exotic Mahogany is in the other room, but I have round wound strings on that one. Yep. Yeah. So I should have plugged the loop pedal in, but I don't have enough working cables. There's kind of a theme going on here. I only have the one set of batteries that I keep moving around to different basses, and I only have enough cords to plug one pedal in. So I only have two cords that I know that work for sure. So I can't really make a loop out of all this stuff. I was thinking about trying to make a spooky song. I should get on his show and get interviewed. I've actually been on there a couple times. If you scroll through there, you'll see me on there as kind of like a guest, just not a guest, but like a co-host, a guest co-host. So there were a couple times way back near the beginning where I was on there helping ask questions and making sure that people's questions got asked. And there was a cool one that I got to be on with Marco Miniman and Randy McSteen. But they were talking about their new album, and so it was really cool getting a chance to talk to Marco Miniman. But yeah, look through there, check those out. But I sort of got interviewed at the beginning before the actual interviews happened. Right? We just chat, talk about what happened during the week, and I mentioned the live stream on there a couple times. Just letting them know that I do one over here too. So that's a little bit of Frankenstein, and that one's a lot of fun to play. Sometimes if we had any shows for Halloween this year, which we have in the past, with Story of a Life, I've played that one at a couple of live events and stuff, and that was a lot of fun. We'd usually do that around this time of year, but we might jam out to that one tomorrow. Who knows? We're not going to play a show out, but we might get together and jam, so that'll be kind of cool. But yeah. So does anybody have any questions about any of the E-basses, or just things to do to sound spooky, or just some other suggestions, things that you'd like to hear that you're curious about on the U-bass that maybe I could play or demonstrate for you? Just let me know in the chat, and otherwise I'll probably just play a little bit. Do they come with cases? They come with soft cases, so like gig bags. All the Kala ones do, as far as I know. I guess I don't know much about their newest ones, but I think even the cheapest one that they have on there comes with a gig bag. Okay, so Navix, do I prefer the Exotic Mahogany or the Wanderer? The Exotic Mahogany is a more expensive U-bass, and they put a little bit more attention to detail on certain things, so that is going to make it a little bit better. But you know, it's kind of like you get what you pay for. If you're willing to pay the extra amount to get the Exotic Mahogany, then it's just going to be a little bit better built, basically. But honestly, the Wanderer is really good too. So they're kind of different. And you know, the Exotic Mahogany that I have has the round wound strings. I've never put the round wound strings on here, so I'm not sure how they would compare. But honestly, the Journeyman, I had the round wound strings on, and that's more similar to this price range. It was pretty good. The round wound sounded really good on the Journeyman, and there was no fret buzz and no weird frets, like fret buzz from the instrument itself. I mean, the strings are noisy if you play on them, but it was possible to play every single fret very clearly if you took your time and played very clearly. So the whole reason you're asking is so you can get a new U-bass with round wounds. Yeah, so I think that there are little things about the Exotic Mahogany that'll be better. You can get the Wanderer with round wounds now, and you can get the Exotic Mahogany. I'm not sure you can get them new anymore. Did they discontinue it? You might only be able to find those used unless you find a store that has them or something. But one thing that I noticed about this one that's not true with that one is the sides of the frets are just a little bit sharp. So if you were to like run your hand along it like this, a couple of them might scratch your finger a little bit, not too bad. They're not super sharp, but yeah, you could do that. And the Exotic Mahogany will just be a little bit better in that sense. And a couple of other small details like that. However, one thing that's kind of interesting about the different U-basses is the cheaper ones have a screw-on backplate. And so these are just little tiny screws. And it makes it a little bit more annoying if you have to get in there to do some work, like change strings, for instance. But honestly, the problem with the magnetic ones is after a while, they lose a little bit of their magnetism. And so then they start vibrating when you're playing. So I found that I have to just take the magnetic plate off when I play now on the other one. All right. Do you know any songs from the Rocky Horror Picture Show? Unfortunately, I don't. I really need to watch that. I meant to go to the midnight showings when they had that at the theater down there, and I haven't ever seen it all the way through. I may have seen clips from it. That's about it. And tips for playing in 3/4 time. Think strong, weak, weak, strong, weak, weak will probably help in a lot of senses. Just really finding beat 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. If you have a solid feel for where beat 1 is, you won't get lost on there as much. I remember even when I was in college and we were improvising on different songs, we did 1 and 3, 4, and I remember kind of losing the downbeat because it was just when you're soloing over things, you're thinking about the improvisation, that it's easier to do that when you're used to playing in 4/4. So you just kind of got to be careful if you're improvising. But really, it's just making sure you got that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, strong, weak, weak, strong, weak, weak is a really good way to keep that feel. Don't fear the Reaper. Let's see. Yeah, so man, I know the guitar part a little bit. Yeah. That middle section is so cool though with the guitar solo. I wish I could do that. Don't fear the deeper. No, that's I figured you meant Reaper. That's pretty funny. But yeah, the strong weak weak thing kind of helps. But if you overdo it, it just always feels like a waltz. But that is the traditional kind of thing to think about, is just in that strong weak weak for 3/4. Yep. But the hardest thing is when you start doing other rhythms in 3/4, like you know, so just getting used to songs that do 3/4 is a really good idea. There's a lot of ways to syncopate 3/4 that are pretty cool. One and two and three and 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 1 2 3 1 2 3 1. So there's a lot of cool syncopations that you can do. So 1 and 2 and so 1 and 2 and 3 and so doing the and after beat 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 2 3. I'm glad you love the upright in the background. I don't play it nearly enough, you know? That's one thing I should do more is play that. So another thing that you might be able to use for like a spooky sound effect or something is kind of like being able to go up and down with your pointer finger like a pick. It's almost like tremolo picking with your pointer finger. Might be kind of fun. That almost sounds more like Spanish guitar than like a spooky song or something. I gotta have that note higher. That's too hard to do up there. I'm trying to remember all the stuff from Ghostbusters. Oh man, I can't remember the bass line. I can't remember. I don't know how to do the melody. I can't remember Ghostbusters well enough to do it. That's kind of sad, but yeah, you could always do Ghostbusters. Yeah. How does that go? Neighborhood. Who you gonna call? Yeah, it's almost like half spoken, half that. Yeah, so Psycho Killer would be a good one too. I'm trying to think of some other ones, because ones that I know better on how to play. Psycho Killer, qu'est-ce que c'est? Yeah, I'd have to go over that one to know it. I haven't had to play that one recently, so. Already sounds out of tune. But then when you're using effects, I know I was talking about delay earlier. So let's see, it was this one. You can use that like if you're trying to like come up with sound effects, you can do like footsteps or something. You know? It's kind of creepy little sounds. I wonder if you could do if I can get that, if I have enough sweat on my finger to make the string do a weird noise. Let's see. Nope, not today. Sometimes when you slide your finger across the string, it creates little sounds like that. And normally you wouldn't like that sound, but with delay, it's kind of cool too. I don't know, maybe not. But it's kind of fun just creating little sound effects with it as well. Yep. And then just doing minor arpeggios is kind of a good thing too. And diminished arpeggios are the really big one though. But we already went over that earlier. So I'm just trying to think of other things. Man, I didn't think of a whole bunch of songs that we could play that were kind of spooky. That's cool. Hello. Welcome to the spooky sounding jam, which I guess we're kind of out of spooky things for me. But yeah, you could do I guess Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy is kind of like that. The Addams Family. Oh, that'd be kind of cool because I don't remember all the rest of it. Yeah, I don't really know what it would be over there. Moon Over Bourbon Street by Sting. I actually don't know that one too well. But I'm sure it's cool because Sting has a lot of really good songs. But yeah, there are a lot of songs with kind of spooky vibes or kind of other things like that. I guess, you could always do. But you get the idea there. So that's like you're doing a minor scale thing. We're doing the root, the fifth, and the sixth of a minor scale. Fifth root, fifth root, fifth root, sixth root, fifth. And then you just move the whole thing down a half step. So that's kind of cool. I'm trying to think of other spooky songs. For some reason, my brain is just not remembering the ones that I already know. The Munsters, that would be a cool one. I should have brought the headphones so I could just listen to them and play them back, because I can usually pick stuff out pretty quickly. Yeah, Pink Floyd has a lot of cool sound effects. I do like that about their music. And then just a minor scale thing. And he uses delay a lot. I think on the Another Brick in the Wall Part 2, he's able to turn that the delay on and off, and then he turn it off. 2, 3, 4. And then he leaves it on there. Sorry. And I think it's off there really. And then he turns it on and off back and forth though. Yeah, Thriller is a good one. I think it was something like, if I remember correctly, I might be messing up a little bit of it, but that's kind of the vibe. Very, very kind of D minor sounding stuff there. Yeah, so Thriller's a good one. But yeah, so minor scales, just to recap everything from earlier for those that kind of joined us later, minor scales are a great way to sound kind of just, it's not too spooky, but it's kind of nice. I mean, if you do it like this, if you use the power chord shape. So you're doing your root, your fifth, and your sixth. I mean, Metallica uses it, and Fade to Black, and just a whole bunch of people use that. And so all these things that are, sometimes it's just a sad song, but sometimes it's a little spooky. So depending on the song. I think what creates kind of the spooky vibe here is basically that it almost like mimics running or something, you know. There's a little bit of like intensity in the rhythm. So just the fact that we have those constant notes coming at you, it almost creates a little bit of like urgency or something in addition to. So it's not sad sounding because it's got too much going on, right? It's too fast. So instead it creates an intensity instead of a sadness. I think it is the Halloween theme song. I don't remember when it shifts and when it doesn't, but I know that it just kind of moves around. Yeah. Funky Town's not creepy, right? So what makes songs not creepy is kind of staying just straight up major, right? So if you're and major and the Mixolydian mode for Funky Town, that one's actually a very, very Mixolydian sound. Yeah, the Doors have a lot of stuff that's kind of like dark sounding. I'm not sure about particular songs by them that I know, but yeah, they do have some songs like that. But yeah, Funky Town is kind of a happy thing. So it's like, why is that happy and other things are spooky? Well, a lot of times it's because there's a major third in it. You know, you're basing your song around a major chord instead of a minor chord. I can't do it there because I ran out of frets. That's why I did it here in the other video. Yeah, so that puts you in a major kind of sound. Spooky, scary skeletons. I'm trying to remember what that one is. I feel like I should know that one. I almost feel like Davey did something on it, and some other people did something on it. But yeah. Oh, and yeah. Welcome to October, everybody. We can wake Green Day up. September has ended, so you know. Billy Joe can get up. I know that song's really a sad song and everything, but yeah, got past it, and yeah, but yeah, that one's not really a sad song either. Sad sounding, even though it's a sad song, it's not really a minor bass thing anyway. How does it something like that. I can't remember. Man, it's been a long time since I've played that one too. Combine Halloween and Funky Town? That might be kind of tricky to do. The only thing I could think of to make Funky Town sound less happy is to try to do a minor version. Let's see what would happen if I did. No, that's not really sad. I'm not sure how I'd combine those. And then what's some other stuff? Can't think of specific songs that use the tritones. I mean, I know that anything by Les Claypool, if you guys listen to Primus and other stuff like that, he uses a lot of tritones, a lot of really dissonant sounds to make everything sound kind of weird and kind of creepy. I'm not sure if spooky is the right word, but some of it's really weird. And sometimes he'll use some strange intervals, like, I guess you could think augmented chords are kind of spooky because they're kind of weird. So an augmented chord is where you stack major thirds. So like, let's say you played an E, then you go a major third up from E. So we got E, F sharp, G sharp. So an E and a G sharp. And then from there, you go up a major third. And you end up with those 3 notes. So it's kind of a whole tone scale, but we're just doing a chord that goes along with the whole tone scale. Yeah, so that kind of brings up something. So Smooth Criminal is really a minor scale thing. So what I like about it is there's one part where the bass line goes, I think, the opposite direction. Or boom, boom, boom. I think it does that at the same time. I can't really do them at the same time, but you get the idea. And that's kind of cool because a lot of bands that are trying to kind of create kind of like a darker sounding thing are going for that counterpoint. It's like a classical thing, but you're going down a minor scale and up a minor scale at the same time. Metallica has a lot of stuff like that, and just a whole bunch of other bands too. But basically, like, let's do it on notes where you can hear both of them pretty well. And then skip over the 4th note and go to the 5th. Let's see. Gosh, it's so hard to do at the same time. Let me do it down here. Right? So you hear that walk down a lot in metal music, and I'm trying to think what other genres you'd hear it in, but definitely in metal. You know, and right there, that's kind of a little piece of a Metallica song, Master of Puppets, sort of. I mean, I kind of messed with it a little bit. And the guitar's doing that. Dun, da, da, da. Yeah. Anyway, I can't remember what it is there. But you kind of get the idea. Sometimes it's like you have a walk down of a minor scale and something against it going up. Sounds pretty cool too. In G minor? Okay, so I mean, it's pretty much going to sound the same whether you do it. So if you did it in E minor, or is that might be A minor technically because you're resolving to the A. So if you did it in G, it doesn't really change things too much. And if you think about it as that note being a G, I mean, it's not really that much different if you're really staying in the same key, because that one's already in a minor key. So it doesn't really sound too weird. To me, it doesn't. Maybe it does. Maybe it does. But to me, my ear hears it the same way based on what key I'm in. I'm not really someone with perfect pitch that hears those as sounding much different. It is a little bit weirder in higher octave, yeah. Yeah. And then what's Smoke on the Water has kind of a cool thing. Oh, there's one other thing that I didn't mention earlier that you can do to kind of get a sort of spooky sound, and that's the blues scale. Because the cool thing about the blues scale is that it has that tritone interval from the root to the 5th note of the scale, basically. So that's kind of a... kind of a cool thing. You can use the blues scale to get kind of a little bit of a spooky sound. I almost feel like Smoke on the Water is kind of using that. Or is it stacked like that? But it's not completely blues scale when you stack them up like that, because this other note's not really in the key. It's almost like the Phrygian mode mixed with the blues scale, which is kind of it could be considered Locrian, couldn't it? Let me think. Yeah. Nah, there's still a note or two that doesn't work in there, but you get the idea. They're kind of using a little bit of dissonance for you. Oh, you have to play it on the G string in band. That's interesting. If I were you trying to do that, not wanting it to be that high, then I would play it down low and just change up your finger pattern, just knowing what the notes are. But that might change it up a little bit. But yeah, it is weird doing things in different octaves. All right, so what's your favorite Halloween song? I know that we've listed a lot of them, but like if you thought of a song that goes really well with Halloween, it doesn't have to be like, you know, the Halloween theme or something particular like that, but just what's your favorite song that kind of goes along with that vibe, you know? So it could be like a Metallica song. Like Metallica has songs like Creeping Death, which is a pretty like, you know, a topic that you could probably put along with that. Really, Metallica, a lot of their songs would go along with Halloween. But what's your personal favorite? If it was like a spooky sounding song, or you know, a theme from a TV show. I know we heard Munsters earlier and a couple others. I just need to go back and brush up on these, I guess. Can't remember all these different themes anymore. But yeah, just what's your favorite? So go ahead and list those out. Yeah, the lower octave is generally going to sound better on bass, because if you're playing up higher, you're in the range of other instruments, and you know, you want to kind of stay out of their range unless it's just something in the song that kind of works. Yeah. Oh, King Diamond. That's a good band to listen to for Halloween. Only heard a few of their songs. I guess Ozzy Osbourne, Alice Cooper sometimes, depending on the song, might be kind of cool to hear. Iron Maiden. Oh yeah, Dream Theater is another band that has a lot of them. There's a lot of songs on Scenes from a Memory. Tons of songs on there. There's also a ton that sound kind of Tool influenced. What is it? It's like Home by Dream Theater. That one's got that Phrygian sound. So that one's pretty cool. And but then it kind of gets, it's not really Phrygian, because when you get into the rest of it, it's got a more kind of somewhere between Middle Eastern and Indian sound to it. So that one might be that one might kind of get a little crazier there. Speaking of crazy, like Dance of Eternity is super crazy. It certainly has some things in there that are kind of interesting and sort of spooky sounding, but really it's just all over the place. Oh yeah, that's a good one too. Hell's Bells. Every song that uses that bell sound effect. So For Whom the Bell Tolls, Hell's Bells, all those things. Yeah. There's a ton of stuff on Scenes from a Memory that's kind of spooky like that for sure. I'm trying to think of there's something toward the end where it's fading out. I'm trying to remember the little loop that they do there, but that's pretty cool. And then there's that I can't remember what it does. But there's definitely some songs in there. Twilight Zone, yeah. What is it? That might be the half whole scale. I'm not sure on that one, Robert, but yeah, Twilight Zone would be a really good one. I was trying to think. What's another one? I think it's something like that. X-Files. I don't know what it does there. I can't think about it. I'm not sure what the initial arpeggio thing that's going on at the beginning of X-Files is, but that one's good too. It's Twilight Zone. Yeah, there's just a bunch of fun ones. So for me, the songs that I usually play for Halloween are things like Frankenstein, the Halloween theme. That one's fun. What are some other ones I mentioned? Just a bunch of Metallica. It's fun listening to a bunch of Metallica. A little bit of that Dream Theater stuff. I mean, really, metal music has a bunch of things that go along with it. Iron Maiden, obviously, has a ton of things. I forgot. I can't remember, but yeah, there's just a bunch of stuff. But walking down minor scales is a really good thing to do. And sometimes making it harmonic minor. So if you know about harmonic minor, that one kind of works pretty well for Halloween, or melodic minor even, where you're walking down natural minor, but then raising the seventh on the way up. But yeah, harmonic minor is where you play a natural minor scale, but then you raise the seventh. Oh, that's cool. You have a bongo bass. Those are really good. I played I got to play a 6-string bongo at Guitar Center at some point, and man, those things are fun. Yeah, bongos are a good bass. Good call on that. Double harmonic minor. I'm not quite sure if I remember. What's different about the harmonic minor and the double harmonic minor? I know the harmonic. It's where you just raise the seventh up 1/2 step. Yeah, so you get a lot of cool, spooky sounding things there. But I guess another thing is just kind of a sense of urgency to the, like a suspense kind of thing. Kind of adds to it a little bit, almost like you're being chased or something, like the Halloween theme. So let's see if we can come up with something else with the minor scale. If you just kind of repeat something. And that's why I think metal music kind of does that, because it sounds kind of powerful, but kind of like sometimes powerful, sometimes suspenseful, just depending on what you're playing. But yeah, a lot of times metal music kind of fills in the notes of either a minor scale or a half step, whole step. When you do that diminished scale, and you do other things like that, then that's cool. In the scale, you flatten the A and the E. Which are you talking about in the same scale that I was doing, starting on? Because I was starting on an E. So which one are you talking about? Flatten the A and the E. I think that depends on what key you're in. So what note would you be starting on? And then with harmonic, you're not really flattening anything. But the melodic, you have the natural minor scale on the way down, and then you have the 6th and the 7th raised up on the way up. But I'm not quite sure what you're saying on that one. Okay, so the original TV theme for The Equalizer. Oh, that's cool. Stuart Copeland's awesome. Yeah, I know he does a lot of soundtrack stuff and a lot of crazy stuff in addition to the drumming that he's known for, that he's widely known for. But yeah, he's a great musician. Has a lot of really cool, interesting ideas, and yeah, Stuart Copeland's awesome. So what's your favorite thing that we talked about? I talked about tritones. I talked about minor scales, diminished scales, arpeggiating diminished chords, kind of doing stuff against a drone note like bands like Tool do. Oh, Tool's another good one to listen to get that kind of vibe. But which technique or effect or scale did you like best out of what we worked on already? I might be ending pretty soon. I mean, it's been going for an hour and 10 minutes. So if you got some suggestions or some questions or whatnot, I can keep going. But I think we've pretty much covered all the stuff that I was trying to cover. So just let me know. So you like tritones the best? So it's funny. It's like that's what makes YYZ sound so weird. Is that's just a tritone at the beginning of that. I'll do it with these two fingers so you can see it. Yeah, so basically I'm doing these live streams every week. So maybe next week it'll just be kind of loose, where we're just kind of going through and just throwing out different things. But honestly, the ends of the live streams end up kind of being a little bit like a U-bass hang anyway. But yeah. So tritones are Robert's favorite. Does anybody else has a favorite? So whole tone scales are another one we went over. I'm trying to think of what else. That might have been it, but just getting a little suspense with certain things. Minor scale walk downs, harmonic minor scale. So let me just go through. I'm just going to do like an example of each one, in case you can't remember all the different things I covered. So the half tone scale. Whoops. So that's that one. Playing against a drone note. And that's using more like the Phrygian mode. I didn't mention the Phrygian mode recently, but so you can do all that stuff against a drone note. Okay, so the Hungarian Miner. Okay. So, it has a D sharp and a G sharp when I'm playing it in the key of E minor. Because I mean, it depends on where you start. Yet again, with the scale. So it has a G sharp. That would almost make it major. Okay, cool. So you like a lot of Spanish stuff. So so basically, yeah, harmonic minor kind of sounds like that, and the Phrygian mode. You know, when people go like, you know, that whole thing is kind of a Phrygian. Yeah, so that's kind of cool. So that's the Phrygian mode. We talked about doing drone notes with the minor scale or with the Phrygian mode. You could also do it with a half whole. Talked about tritones. We talked about minor seconds, which is a more dissonant interval. You can't listen to somebody do that too long, or you'll start feeling like you're going crazy. Yeah, because everything just feels slightly off, slightly out there. And then minor chords, yeah. So just doing a minor arpeggio, just like. So that's kind of cool. More Metallica. Basically doing a minor arpeggio against a drone note. So that's kind of cool because it's combining that idea of a drone note and going down notes of a minor scale, but using arpeggios to do it. So you could also arpeggiate a minor scale walk down. I used harmonic minor. So I used natural minor on the way down and then harmonic minor right at the end. Yep. So yeah, minor chords definitely give you a spooky sound. Then there's some other ones that we just briefly talked about. If you listen to Iron Maiden's version of Rime of the Ancient Mariner, in the middle, he has this like thing going on, and that's an augmented chord. So augmented chords are pretty cool. And then diminished triads. Sorry, just diminished arpeggios. This is really like a fully diminished seventh chord. So that'd be the root, the third, the fifth, and the flatted. Let's see. Because it's like it ends up being a sixth if it was a major scale, but it's a diminished seventh, which means you already had the flatted seventh, and now you're flattening it one more time. So it's pretty crazy. Blood on the world's hands with Blaze Belly. But which thing? So Navix likes playing minor chords for a spooky sound. S-Bass likes a lot of Spanish stuff, so just doing like Phrygian mode kind of things. Robert likes tritones. What about anybody else? What's your favorite way to get that spooky kind of sound out of some of the stuff that we covered, or if you have some other way that you like to do it too? Dissonant intervals like tritones or like minor seconds. Right. So the cool thing about that is like you can feel the dissonance. Like you play those two notes at the same time, you can kind of feel how the notes wobble against each other. So a lot of times that's what we use to tune. If you have a lot of wobble, you're out of tune. If you're trying to play stuff in tune, so you got to tune up to get rid of the wobble. But if it's a half step off, it'll have the wave will be kind of bouncing all over the place. The two notes are clashing against each other and creating a whole lot of different peaks. All right. Anybody else? I know we're having a few less people. And then just chromatic. Yeah, I mean, chromatics kind of have that vibe too, really. Just doing like, or you could do like crawling down a chromatic scale. That's kind of fun to do. It's kind of like an exercise kind of thing, but it might also create a cool effect as a layer of a song. So I'm doing there is like I'm playing up 4 notes and then coming back to the second note that I played. Coming back to the second note I played there. So it's like I'm shifting up a fret every time and playing 4 notes in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's kind of like a crawling kind of sound. And that warm-up exercise where we're doing 1st fret, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, 4th fret on different strings. When you go up, that's all tritones. When you come backwards, that's all major thirds. So it gives you that diminished sound going up and then the augmented sound going down. So that's kind of a cool thing and why it sounds so dissonant. And if you do them out of order, you can get some cool sounds too. But that one sounds kind of weird, so you can kind of use those exercises to get some interesting things. Because sometimes the idea with sounding spooky or making something sound like kind of crazy, like is to take something that works really well and then just slightly change it. So like for instance, if you're doing Mary Had a Little Lamb or something, but you're harmonizing in minor seconds. Of course. Yeah, can't reach that far, but you get the idea. So there's just some weird stuff like that. Yeah, so Seven Nation Army is another example of walking down a minor scale, right? Because you're like sort of starting to arpeggiate that first chord. Then the rest is just a walk down E minor. So that's that same idea. Metallica was doing something similar where they're walking down a minor scale. Sometimes it sounds spooky and sometimes it just sounds like Hit the Road Jack. But you get the idea. So you can make it sound spooky by not giving it a swing rhythm. The swing rhythm kind of takes the spookiness out of it for some reason. But yeah, that's why the minor scale stuff just kind of has a little bit of a spookier, darker sounding vibe. Sometimes you could associate it with sadness. Sometimes you could associate it with like almost a sinister kind of sound, just depending on how you're using the minor scale. But yeah, there's a lot of things you can do there. Hello. All right. So I covered pretty much everything already about all these like spooky sounds and all this stuff. But if you're just now joining, which you might be, I was asking which thing is someone's favorite. I'm glad you caught it. I'm glad you caught the live stream. But yeah, I'll have to check out the new channel, by the way. But yeah, I'm gonna quickly just recap everything that I went over. I kind of did this a minute ago, but here's the last recap, and then I'm probably gonna head out. So you just caught the tail end of the live stream. So one thing you could do is tritones, right? So that interval is kind of spooky. mean, a lot of times people refer to that one as like the devil's interval. So you don't play those in church, right? And then I like the minor second because it sounds like a mistake. It's like if you want to imitate someone making a mistake, or something just sounds like if you were to play a nursery rhyme or a children's song, but you were to harmonize it with minor seconds, it just kind of like inserts this element of like insanity, like something is off, that kind of thing. And then as far as scales, real quick, I'll go over that. So like a minor scale, anything using minor scales. So we were talking about walking down minor scales. And sometimes walking up. So you can do those kinds of things, and so that's kind of fun. All right, S-Bass, I'll see you later. Have a good one. Thanks for hanging out. And yeah, so we got the minor scales, then we've got the Phrygian mode, which is like a minor scale, but then you flat the second note of it. So this is kind of cool for... And a good example of things that sound like they're using the Phrygian mode. Tool uses that sound a little bit. I think they're pulling from a different scale technically, but at first, sounds kind of Phrygian. All right. Well, thanks everybody for hanging out. Hopefully that kind of gives you the idea. I did the whole tone scale and the half whole scale, which is where you do a half step, then a whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step. That one's kind of weird. So there's a whole lot of ways you can do that, but that's a basic recap. So I want to thank everybody for hanging out. I hope you have a good week, and you can kind of put some of this stuff in there. My favorite's probably the diminished run. That's probably my favorite, just for the record for you guys. If you listen to like Legend of Zelda when you're in the dungeon, they have this whole little harmonized diminished arpeggio like that. So those are pretty cool. Thank you guys so much for hanging out, and I will see you on the next one. I appreciate you hanging out with me for those that were here from the beginning for an hour and 23 minutes. So thanks again, and I will see y'all next week. If you have any ideas for live streams, feel free to leave them in comments on the replay. I'll check those, and just, if you leave them on a different video, that's fine too, because it notifies me when people leave comments. And then that way, if you have some ideas for a live stream, I'd appreciate it. So if there's something that you want to cover in depth like this, list some things, and I'll probably, pull from what I hear as far as for the next live stream. But I will see you guys on the next one. Have a great day and a good week. And I'll see you on next Tuesday for the video of the week. All right. Bye, guys.